Is your work from home personal brand working for you or against you? Is it perhaps a little bit too comfortable, or is it helping to intentionally build trust in your professionalism? Today, I want to talk about my 3 tips for building a polished work from home personal brand, one that actually improves your performance as well. So grab your cup of tea and let's dive into it. It was only just a few years ago now where, for most of the world, working from home felt like your professional network had become the surprise intruder into your personal life. But now, a few years on, working from home has become so common that there is less of an excuse for not considering how you are representing yourself, even while you are working from home. There is less excuse for a sloppy or an unprofessional personal brand. And there is also less excuse for a lack of performance when you are working from home. Working from home is less of a requirement now, as it is more a privilege. Our workplace or our professional network is putting trust in our ability to be able to perform professionally while we are at home. And whether it is a full-time working from home schedule or if it is a hybrid model, it seems like working from home is not going anywhere anytime soon. I want to share some stats that I read in a Forbes article recently about this working from home trend. It said by 2025, it's estimated that in the US, 22% of the workforce will be working remotely. It implies this continuous and gradual shift towards remote work. This trend is reflected in workers' preferences as well. The stats said that 98% of workers prefer to work from home at least some of the time. This implies a growing affinity towards the flexibility and autonomy that is offered when working from home. The stats also shared that 16% of companies in the US are already fully remote. So this shows that there are businesses paving the way for the feasibility of this model. So it's pretty likely that there's going to be other businesses that are going to follow this path. So with work from home not going anywhere anytime soon, let's dive into my first tip. Tip number 1 is to dress for the job that you have. You've likely heard the saying, dress for the job that you want, not for the job that you have. But it feels like with this rapid rise of working from home that so many of us have forgotten to dress for the job that we have. As I've shared on my blog previously, your clothes, when it comes to your personal brand, communicate for you. The style of clothes communicates for you. The colors communicate for you. So is your work from home wardrobe saying what you want it to for your professional personal brand? Yes, your yoga pants, your sweats, if you're even wearing pants at all, is going to be more comfortable. But what is it saying about your personal brand, and what impact is it having on your performance? A few years back, when we started to work from home more often, I started to wear some of the same clothes that I would wear when I was in an office. And while a lot of people found this quite strange, intuitively it just felt right to me. And it's something that I have continued doing ever since, even though I work from home for the majority of the time now as well. And it turns out that there is some science as to the way that I feel about this, and it is something called enclothed cognition. And it is this idea that the clothes that we physically wear has an effect on our cognitive processes. And that when clothes have a symbolic meaning attached to them, when we wear those clothes, it activates that symbolic abstract meaning in our minds too. So when you wear your sweatpants, for example, it is going to make you feel a certain way because your mind has already been conditioned to attribute a symbolic meaning to what wearing sweatpants or yoga pants means. But when you wear, for example, your work clothes, it is going to have a different effect on you. And there has been other research that has shown that when you wear more formal clothes, it actually improves your abstract thinking and your problem solving as well. So it is worth holding on to that old cliche to dress for success. When it comes to your work from home professional brand, don't just think about this impact that it has on your mental performance, because it is also going to have an impact on the perceptions that other people have of you. I have sat in enough leadership conversations to know that working from home can test the trust of even some of the best leaders. So why not project a professional and polished work from home brand that exudes confidence in your ability to perform while you are working from home? Create confidence through your clothes. Wash your face, brush your hair. If you would normally do it at work, consider wearing a little bit of makeup as well. And even when you're working from home, dress for the job that you have. Tip number 2 for a polished work from home personal brand is to set the scene. Consider the backdrop that you have for where you take your calls as the backdrop to your personal brand, your work from home personal brand. Now, no one is asking you to design the next Broadway set, but tiny efforts can go a long way. So think about where items are placed, or strategically where you might be able to place items that are going to benefit how you feel when you are working and how you are representing yourself on those calls. Tidy up around you. I know a lot of us don't have a lot of flexibility as to where we are working when we are working from home, but some of these little routines can help with what is often called a transition routine, where we used to commute into work or commute away from work. We can now set up our space to look in a certain way when we are working. And this is going to benefit you mentally to switch into a work mode and to actually come out of that as well when you start to put things back at the end of the day too. And this does not need to be anything significant. Just ask yourself how you are actually appearing in that small little window that your professional network has into your world, into your personal brand or your personal life. There was a time where a lot of us used to see only our desk as this little window into our personal brand, the way that we kept our desk or the way that we intentionally curated things around it. So start to see the way that you are representing yourself on your video calls as your new desk. How do you want to curate it to be the best representation of your personal brand? If you're looking for ideas about what this could look like, then a quick scroll of Pinterest is going to give you a world of inspiration. You might also want to jump onto YouTube and have a look at what some of your favorite content creators have in the backdrops of their setting. Again, this doesn't need to be anything fancy, but how are certain items positioned and what interpretations are you drawing about that person as a result of those things? Having a look at what other people are doing or getting some ideas around inspiration will help you to identify what you have around your own house that is going to help you to set up a really productive and professional work from home space. Maybe it's the way that they have books, plants, any personal artifacts, or any other visual cues that are contributing to the personal brand that they are projecting. What can you do for your own work from home personal brand? And while you are thinking like a set designer, then don't forget about the power of lighting. Now that working from home has become much more continuous and common, consider finding the best spot that allows for enough natural light into your space to be inviting for the people that are going to be viewing your personal brand online. If you can't access a lot of natural light, which I understand is going to be completely understandable in a lot of households, then consider how you can use any other lights that you might have around you to create a little bit more of a brighter, welcoming experience. Maybe you can add a light to your desk, maybe you can have a lamp in your room, or maybe you can even purchase some lights that can be attached to your computer screen just to brighten up your experience a little bit more. Tip number 3 is to have higher meeting etiquette standards. While working from home, as I've mentioned, it's easy to feel a little bit too relaxed, and a lot of this attitude can seep into our online meetings as well. And because working from home has become now so common, it feels like universally a lot of the rules around meeting etiquette seem to have been relaxed. But when it comes to meeting online, this is not the time to be lowering your meeting standards. It's actually the time to be raising the bar on how you are representing yourself in your meetings. Because when we meet with people online, all of the sensory communication that normally takes place in a face-to-face meeting is reduced. For example, it becomes harder to see a person's complete body language. It becomes harder to hear, to know who is talking when. It becomes harder to make meaningful eye contact with participants. So when you are representing yourself in your online meetings, consider how you can be really intentional about raising the standards of your meeting etiquette. The simplest ways that I believe that you can elevate some of your professional standards when you are in online meetings is to, unless you're asked otherwise, turn on your video and turn yourself off of mute, and to actually pay attention to the meeting that you're in. That means ignoring your email pop-ups or switching them off altogether, not reading them as they come through, not writing and doing other things or typing emails while you are meant to be present in the meeting that you're in. And also to pay special attention to who is trying to talk when. Understand that audio isn't always going to be fantastic across all participants. So spend some time trying to be really alert about who is speaking when and avoid interrupting people, or try and give other people a chance to speak as well. And the final one that I want to add to that list is to consider your posture, because your posture, like your clothes, is also going to be communicating for you. And by now, most of us know that 55% of communication is non-verbal. I once came off a call where the CEO actually commented on someone's slumped posture in the meeting and all of the interpretations that they assumed that meant about that person. So remind yourself that your posture is speaking volumes for your personal brand. Sit up straight and convey that you are paying attention and that you're focused. Create a polished work from home personal brand that is building trust in your professionalism. Thanks so much. Subscribe for more like this, and I'll see you in the next episode.